Hello and welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors oxygenaddict.com,
Triathlon coaching with Coach Rob.
We are bikehouse.co.uk
For all your cycling needs.
And triathlonbox.co.uk
to keep everything neat in transition.
And I hope all you guys listening have had a really great couple of weeks. I've been away and I've had a wonderful time, and I've missed talking to the wonderful Helen Murray. Helen, how are you, mate?
Rob, I'm good. How are you? How was your hollybobs?
Oh, Helen, I cannot recommend going on a Nielsen holiday to Greece highly enough.
Oh, was it just 2 weeks of pure bliss and fun and lots of activities?
Mate, anybody who enjoys like being active on holiday, there's just too much to do. There's too many things to choose from. Weather was perfect. We had a place we stayed at in Civita, had an island just off the coast we stayed on, and you could swim around this island. It was like 2.5k.
Oh, wow.
They had road bikes for hire, mountain bikes, sailing, swimming, windsurfing, paddleboarding, kayaking, tennis, kids club. It's just, I cannot recommend it highly enough. If anyone's looking for a holiday listening to this, they're the people to go to.
That's ace. Did you feel shattered from doing so much, or
all the time? Yeah. I followed basically the opposite of the Rob Wilby triathlon training plan for Ironman. By instead of like training really hard and then tapering down for a couple of weeks, I've tried to essentially fit all my training into the 2 of the 3 weeks before Triathlon X this coming weekend.
Fantastic. So were you doing panic training then, Rob?
Panic training is the only way to describe it. Yeah, three 6-hour rides in the last 2 weeks just to try and convince myself I can still ride a bike.
And this is the top advice to pass on to everyone else. Yep, get that panic training in.
Do not copy me. I think when you get to 2 weeks to go and you haven't done anything, the choice is like, okay, go and do something, or don't turn up on the start line.
So how's your body feeling?
Good, actually. Yeah, okay. Good.
And your mind?
Yeah, awesome.
That's the key thing, isn't it?
Totally refreshed, yeah. Got out with a really good group pretty much every day. Rode in the mountains. Some days we went cruisy, and some days we went balls to the wall up the hills, and it was really good. But I needed a bit of confidence in my swimming and biking, and I got that. My Achilles and I are currently not on speaking terms, unfortunately.
Oh no, I'm not either. No. Achilles are just. There's no point in trying to talk to them, Rob.
I feel like you've caught it off me.
It's just don't even go there.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. How are you doing? Give us an update on your injury woes.
Well,
This is going to turn into like the injury podcast, isn't it?
No one knew about my injury woes because it sort of seemed to happen, and yeah, and we haven't spoken it since, have we?
Oh, we've kept it off air, haven't we? But it's light at the end of the tunnel.
Hopefully. So I had a
give everyone the update of what happened, because I think it'll help a lot of people out. Your story.
Okay, so about 3 weeks ago, I possibly a bit stupidly decided to enter a 5k run, and I'd been a little bit ginger probably taking my running cautiously, I'd say, backing off a little bit. And I think, maybe 2 weeks before that, I was trying to do one of my long runs. And for the first time ever, I got to about 9 miles on my long run. And I was walking, and it just turned into a walk. I had to walk because my Achilles / bottom of my calf, but it's all linked, isn't it, was hurting. So, yeah, I think the following week, or maybe a week after that, I decided to enter this 5k race. And I got to 3k. And honestly, Rob, I was running nicely. I was running well. I was like probably a little bit too excited. I was in 5th female at the time, and I was like, man, I'm on. Yeah, this is going well.
Would it have been a PB, do you think?
Yeah, it would have been a PB. So it would have been
a big one.
No, I don't think so. But I think I would have just got under 19 minutes.
Yeah.
And
solid.
Yeah. So then 3k in, I was like, oh, that doesn't feel good. No. Boom didn't quite happen at that point. I just thought, it doesn't really feel good. I got to 4k, and I thought, no, that really is a boom. I'm stopping. And
yeah.
And I was in real pain. Then again, perhaps stupidly, I decided to walk to the finish line because I thought, I've never DNF'd in a race. I'm not doing it now. I'm going to walk. Still didn't come last. But then I was properly hobbling the next day. And then couldn't walk properly at work. And it was like, oh, really? This is not good. Went to a physio and he was like, yeah, you've got a little tear in your Achilles. So then I thought, oh, no, Rob, no, I've torn my Achilles. So the last 3 weeks, Rob, I've been a cyclist. A swim.
And we've had some good news though, haven't we, in the last couple of days?
Yes. So I went to see I had a scan on it on Saturday. Love the NHS. It takes 3 weeks to get a scan, by which point, apparently, it's okay. It's cleared. So then I saw the physio yesterday again, and he has given me the thumbs up to return to some sort of run, jog, let's, go on 2 feet kind of movement. Which is great. So, yeah, month out from Ironman with a dodgy Achilles. Awesome.
Yeah, well,
you're a week out, you've got a dodgy Achilles. So,
well, my Achilles has been dodgy for 6 years, so there's nothing new there. There's still time for it to come good for race day, Hells.
7 to 8, 6, 5.
I'm getting my excuses in early and publicly. That's my thing. When I post like a 9-hour marathon.
Oh.
Yeah, we'll see. But you know what, man? With yours, you're going to ease back into it, and it's going to be 30 seconds of light jogging and 30 seconds of walking. And we take the long-term view, don't we, that if we can get you running again properly in 6 months, and then in a year you'll have forgotten all about this.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, the physio seems to think that if you can run okay, we gradually build it up, and we'll take it week by week and see where we are. So
fingers crossed. This time last week, and probably this time 2 weeks ago, as I had looked into deferring, I'd looked into getting a refund, but no, with Ironman events, you have to know at least 2 weeks before you get injured that, you're going to be injured. So I had missed the deadline.
You know what they're like? They're like the Vogons, from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You need it in triplicate, signed by the ghost of your dead mother.
Yeah. So I couldn't really do anything. So in my mind, and even now, I am very aware that I might not be able to complete the run section, but I am definitely going to turn up, and I am definitely going to swim, and I'm definitely going to bike. And if I can run in 4 weeks' time and I can do that, brilliant. And if I can't, well then so be it. I want to be able to walk and run when I'm 60. So
I'm just wondering if we could get you a pair of those Heelys, that kids wear.
Yes.
Because it's quite hilly, the Bolton course. You could probably freewheel down most of it.
The uphill might be a slight problem.
Well, you could kind of hobble up, and then I bet there's nothing in the rules about it. I bet Heelys are not mentioned in the Ironman rules. You could get one over on them. You could be doing like 20 miles an hour on the downhills.
No wheel-assisted shoes in the run section. Oh, I love it.
Watch this space for a Knutsford Tri-Club clad lady headed downhill
with wheelies on.
Good stuff.
That'd be a sight. So yeah,
wouldn't it just? Eh?
So that's the latest.
Oh well, I'm glad we've got some good news for you on it. It was pretty dark for a couple of weeks there. So yeah, let's just take it jog by jog and day by day and week by week and see where we get you to. Hey,
that's exactly it. Yep. We will keep fingers crossed, but if it's not meant to be, then it is literally not meant to be.
That's right. So did we get any love on Twitter while I was away? Did people realize we were away? Did we manage to hold it together, Hells, with interviews and stuff published still while it wasn't being done week by week, as it were?
Well, I was doing my thing on Twitter, so I think there seemed to be a lot of love on Twitter for the interviews that we put out. So I think the first week that you weren't here, we had Jodie Stimpson.
The wonderful Jodie Stimpson, yeah.
Jodie, if you're listening to this one, there was a lot of love for you from the Cover Try listeners and people who probably had never even listened to the podcast, who managed to hear that interview as well. So loads of people saying what an amazing person, and it was quite a heartfelt interview. And I think we both were on the edge of tears at one point.
Yeah, it was a bit of a tearjerker, wasn't it?
It was a little bit.
Don't mind admitting there were tears in my eyes, Hal.
Oh, honestly, what a start. And then it was Leeds, wasn't it? And Jodie managed to finish fourth. She just missed out in pretty much a sprint finish with Vicky Holland, I think, just kicked on this last corner and managed to get ahead. And then Lucy Charles we had on as well, didn't we?
Yeah.
And again, loads of people loved hearing that interview. So yeah, a lot of Twitter love out there. So we are at Cup of Try on Twitter if you want to get in touch. If you have a question for Coach's Couch, we'll come on that later, won't we? But you can get us there. And if you want to give us your thoughts on the show, you want to help retweet and spread the word, we are very much appreciative of that.
That'd be cool, actually, wouldn't it? We could do with a bit more of a social, what's it called? A social media presence.
Correct, Rob. Yeah.
The thing I really like about this Twitter feed, and you've got to take the plaudits for this because you're the brains behind the Twitter feed, is like, as a member of the public, getting the chance to interact with the people that we've just had on. Like somebody says something and Jodie Stimpson comes on and replies. I think it's just brilliant. Yeah. We've got Lucy Charles's mum retweeting about her daughter's interview. I think it's just ace. It brings the world closer together.
It does.
Doesn't
It really, really does. Yeah, and then Lucy Gossage saying, "Oh, I heard the interview with Lucy Charles, really liked it," all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, it's fun having that interaction, and I do most of the Twitter stuff, but hopefully it always makes me laugh, Rob, when they say, "Hey, Rob," and I'm like, "No, It's not Rob."
It's not Rob. So there you go. It's Helen behind the Twitter feed, which is why it's so well done, and it's me behind the Facebook page, which is why it's not been updated for about 2 months. So we're working on it in the background. The thing that I used to publish the podcast baffles me technically. In some weeks it works perfectly, in other weeks it doesn't publish on time, and some weeks the Facebook feed gets updated automatically, in other weeks it doesn't. So I'm desperately in need of some website training, but we're learning, aren't we?
It's when you get the text at like 6 o'clock in the morning, inevitably, because I'll either be at work or I'll be like up and heading to swimming. I'm like, "Rob, it's not there yet."
You know what? Lindsay loves it when we get woken up by a text at 6:30 in the morning because I've not turned the phone to silent.
Honestly, this is my top tip to everyone in life. Always have your phone on silent overnight.
Yeah, in case you have a mate like you, right?
I know, I just dread the call from work at like 4 a.m. Like, ooh.
Oh, yeah, not good. No. Not good. Right, so we've got a few. We've obviously not done a live one for a couple of weeks now, so we've got a few races to catch up on, haven't we?
Yes.
We've made a list of them here, and I don't think we're going to get them in chronological order, but let's start with Staffordshire 70.3 because it's close to our hearts, being based in the UK, isn't it?
Yeah, we were there last year, weren't we?
Yeah, I was gutted, actually. Well, I wasn't gutted to be in Greece because Greece was completely awesome. But to not be at Staffordshire this weekend, because I thought it was a really good event last year, and you raced there, didn't you?
Yeah, and it was. I particularly liked the run course because there were some really good crowds on that run.
Traditional British stately home garden round laps, and it was nice, wasn't it? Nice, well kept. Yeah, really cool.
Apparently though, this year the weather was so disgusting that it turned into more of a cross country run, having to run back through, there's like a wooded section and then bits. It almost felt a bit like you're running over a field, and from the photos you can just see that everyone's absolutely splattered in mud,
covered in clag. So did the weather just break then just before that, because it was quite warm through the beginning of that week, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then it was it was bad weather for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So heavy rain, I think. So a little bit of a quagmire for parts of the run.
So we've got to start with the ladies' side, I think, on this one, haven't we? And it was a second win for the lovely Lucy Gossage.
Yep, it was, but it wasn't. I think she came off her bike. Yep. So she
stacked it on the bike, didn't she? She said
didn't have the best race in terms of the bike, but clearly an amazing race to actually still kind of come away with the win. So fantastic work.
Yeah, stormed through on the run with a 1:29 to take the win by about a minute and a half over Kimberly Morrison in second, also a Great Britain.
Yep.
And Nikki Bartlett in third, also a Great Britain. And Lucy Charles in fourth place.
So it was a really, really good race there by, Kimberly or Kim and Nikki, both sort of still fairly new to the pro scene. So fantastic results for both of them, because Kim won at Buenos Aires, didn't she?
That's right, yeah.
So fantastic second place as well. And then great for Nikki, who's done a load of 70.3s at the moment. And I think I read her block the other day, and I think it looks good for 70.3 world qualification.
Awesome.
Yeah, so fantastic.
Do you know what? We were threatening to get Nikki back on, weren't we? Because she was our first ever interview.
Yeah, I
Do you
think,
remember back in episode 1?
Episode 1. I think we will get her back on at some point.
We owe Nikki a proper interview now, don't we?
Now
we did this. Now we kind of know what we're doing. We should get her back on, and she's like an established pro now as well. So she was the young shiny neo pro at the time, wasn't she? Just setting out on the pro journey.
Yeah, a year and a half ago. Definitely.
Didn't time fly, eh?
Hey, Nikki will be in touch and we'll get you on again.
Yeah, we sure will. And it's good to see Lucy Charles there backing up in 4th place, because she only had, was it a week after Lanza? Or 2 weeks after Lanzarote?
2 weeks, wasn't it? Yeah.
So she won't have had time to do much by the way of training in that period. So yeah, good result for her.
Really, really solid. 23-minute swim.
23:36, yeah. So 30 seconds down on the lead pro men pack, ahead of most of the pro men. And a really strong run from her at the finish as well, with a 1:34. So she's right up there in the running, and her biking's improving all the time. So great to see. Is she 21 or 22 maybe?
22, I'm thinking.
She's got a great future in front of her.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
she really, really has. She's going to be a superstar.
It's exciting, isn't it? Exciting to follow and watch. What about over on the men's side, Rob? It was won by Matt Troutman of South Africa. In
domination,
absolute domination, with a 1:14 run he finished with, 2:13 bike, 24-minute swim. I've gone backwards there. Hey, sometimes. To win in 3:56. Harry Wiltshire was second, first out the water in 22:52. We know that Harry's an amazing swimmer, isn't he?
Sure is.
And then Marcus Tomsk, who he raced last year, didn't he? Finished in 4:00.
Yeah, he laid it down on the bike last year, didn't he?
Did it again this year. That must be the fastest split of the day on the bike, 2:12. And then Joe Skipper was in 4th. He did a 2:19 bike and a 1:17 run to come in at 4:06.
Yeah, good stuff. I'll tell you what, Matt Troutman there, that's, less than a minute off the fastest bike split and the fastest run split by 5 minutes. Yeah. 1:14 on that course is staggeringly quick, isn't it?
Yeah, that is.
3 minutes faster than Skipper, who's a really strong runner.
Yeah.
That's some going. Did Matt win? He won Wales, didn't he, a couple of years ago?
Yeah, he didn't. So Jesse Thomas won it this year, didn't he? Well, last September. So yeah. I think he won it the year before.
He won it the year before. Yeah, good.
Yeah. So fantastic.
Let's branch out. We'll get him on. He can be one of our next international pro interviews.
Okay.
Let's get him on.
Okay.
I've got a good feeling about him.
Do it. Do it.
Yeah, let's do it. Right, where to next? Next race. It's got to be Ironman Cairns, I think, down in Australia, hasn't it, really?
Yes. Now, have you seen photos of this? Or you've been to that part of the world, haven't you?
Do you know, I never got up as far as Cairns.
Oh, didn't you?
I never got further north than Ironman Australia, which was in Forster at the time, so I never got up that side of all the way up the coast that way.
Well, just imagine palm trees, and lots of them, and beautiful, beautiful scenery. So I reckon in terms of scenery, Ironman Cairns has got to be up there. I wonder how humid it is at this time of year. I mean, I know it was raining on the bike because they had
I think it varies between like 98 and 100% humid.
Is it? I mean, it must be.
Yeah, it's pretty tropical.
Yeah. I think I was there like December kind of time, and I remember at that point you don't swim in the sea because of the stingers, like the jellyfish. But I guess this time of year it's probably okay, or else they wouldn't have allowed.
Well, they have beaches where they net it as well, don't they?
Yeah,
so that might be it. They might have a section where it's netted.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to get caught by one of those bad boys.
No. So, they had a bit of rainy conditions, but Tim van Berkel won in 8:15 on the men's side. Now, wasn't his last Ironman win like 2008 or something? Like a seriously while ago. So how cool's that to be back at the top of the podium after
back again? Yeah, that's awesome.
So
good knowledge. I didn't know that.
I think I'm sure I read that somewhere. He definitely hadn't been on top of the podium for a while. David Dello again of Oz, 8:19 in second, and then Pete Jacobs. Really good to see him back on the podium, isn't it? 8:28.
Isn't it? Yeah. Good. it's great to finally see him put a decent marker on the board and get on the podium again. I met him when he did, what would it have been, 70.3 Wimbledon.
Okay, yep.
In his first year as a pro back in 2000 and, I want to say 6, sometime around then. And he led off the bike in his first pro season. He was traveling with Macca.
Yep.
Super nice guy. It's great to see him get back up there again. It'd be good to see him put in a really decent performance at Kona again, wouldn't it?
It would really be, because I think he's had a rough few years, hasn't he? So.
He was on the telly the other day, actually. He was part of the Australian team in that Chase the Sun race that they held in Chamonix. You know, where they ran around Mont Blanc in a relay team.
Oh, wow.
And him and his wife were in this relay team, and they had, you know, whatever it is, they got like 17 or 18 hours or something to run around, circumnavigate Mont Blanc, and the gun goes off as the sun rises, and then they fire the gun as the sun finally goes down, and it was a brilliant race. There was 4 or 5 teams racing, and 3 of them were still in it with about a mile to go, and they were all really on for just beating the sun going down. It was brilliant TV.
That sounds great, Rob. So if I get friendly with my Achilles again...
Oh, yeah. I'm not sure they do it as a...
Oh.
Would have to... I think at the time it was literally 5 teams.
Okay.
There was 1 team representing each continent. Are the 5 continents or are the 6? I'm not even sure.
Hey, 5, 7... You know, used to vary in geography.
You don't know either. Okay. That's the kind of thing I thought that people should know. That's fine. As long as you don't know as well.
You always taught 5, but then occasionally they'd say, oh, but if you include this and that, then it's 7. So let's go 5.
So yeah, so there's a team that were made up of like a couple of decent pro athletes and then a couple of age groupers who got lotteried into it. So there was literally just 5 of them running, and they had car support following them around and stuff between these checkpoints. It was amazing, though. Beautiful scenery. You should check it out. I bet it's on YouTube somewhere. It was called I think ASICS sponsored it. That'd be right, wouldn't it? Because they sponsor Pete Jacobs.
Oh,
so I think it was ASICS Race the Sun race.
Oh, cool. I'll look at that.
Apologies if I've got the sponsor wrong.
I'll have a look. It's yeah, no, it is definitely that. Yep. Beat the Sun.
Cool. Yeah.
Beat the Sun, that's it.
Maybe we could have a cup of tri-team.
Oh my God, stop it. Stop it, Rob.
We're big enough to go international yet with our 2 working Achilles tendons between us.
Stop it.
Oh, man. Right,
we haven't done the women's. We haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. Ladies' side, go on.
Again, well, domination from Jodie Swallow, brilliant, who came after her. Did she break her elbow? Coming off the bike in South Africa. So yeah,
she got hit by the downdraft of a helicopter, didn't she?
God, what a nightmare. So awesome. She's back on the top of the podium. 9:06 win for her. Lindsay Corbin, again, she's sort of on a comeback season this year after injury last year. So she got a race best marathon and finished in 9:12. And then Sarah Crowley of Australia was 3rd in 9:19.
Is Lindsay Corbin the one that wears the cowboy hat?
Correct.
She's cool.
Yeah.
I read an interview with her ages ago. And it says here on the Slow Twitch report, she cut nearly 20 minutes into Swallow's lead on the marathon.
Yeah.
So, boy oh boy.
And she had a bike crash and a penalty.
Oh man.
Yeah. Wow.
Sounds like an exciting race. And Bet Keat in 5th.
Yeah. Now, Bet Keat, she finished the marathon with a torn calf.
Oh no.
She must have been
nasty.
In absolute agony, mustn't she?
She's a hard athlete.
Yeah. So blooming neck.
Glimpsed it through, did she?
Yep. And that's when you think, my God, if what am I going on about? Oh yeah, I did have a tear in my Achilles. You know?
Yeah.
Still a bit of a wuss. But anyway, I'm not Becky. I'm not professional. It's all right.
Oh man, Brian Rhodes did that at UK many years ago, back down in Sherborne. Was leading to the halfway point in the marathon, and his calf went, and he basically hopped for the half of the marathon, and came in like 100th place or something. And he said, my mum came down to watch me race, and I wasn't going to not finish when she travelled all the way from New Zealand. It's just like, you hard man.
Wow, that is
amazing.
Amazing.
Cool.
So that's Cairns done. So, Rob, do we go Durban next, or do we go to the
Durban? Yeah, go Durban.
Okay, well, this one.
And then you can tell everyone your news as well.
Oh yeah, that news. Yeah. Okay,
Yes.
so Durban 70.3 was this weekend just gone. This is probably the most recent one that we're talking about at the moment.
It is, yeah.
Yep. And just because it's in front of me first, I'm going to go with the blokes. It was 1, 2, 3 for South Africa. Jean-Paul Berger was first in 3:37. Jaren Seeger's second in 3:39, and then Jean de Villiers third in 3:41. Then over on the women's side, it was... Now, Rob, I think I've given out the wrong results there.
Yeah?
Yep, because, and I'll tell you why, because the age groupers... I've totally given out the wrong results. Age groupers didn't have a swim, and that was an age group.
We'll forgive you. We are a forgiving and loving family here at the Cup of Tri.
So let me go back to the male pro. Yes, now this makes more sense.
Was it one of those ones where the pros got to do the swim and then
the
age groupers didn't? Yeah.
So I'm really sorry because I don't know why I thought I don't recognise any of these names, whereas these names...
I was going to say 3:30 is very quick indeed.
Well, this is what I was honestly... Should I just go back to bed right now?
Cut. Take 2.
Right, so just ignore the last 2 minutes. So, Rob, Durban 70.3 was on this weekend. Right, Matt Troutman won.
I'm not editing it. We're just going to roll with this. This is good radio.
Brilliant. Matt Troutman won.
No way.
Yes, you see, now this is why I was confused as well. In 3:53, because the pros were made to do the swim.
Right.
And
so was that the week... That was the week after Staffordshire? It must be, right?
Yes.
This Saturday just gone.
Staffordshire was like the 11th, 12th. Yep.
So he's backed it up a week later with another win.
Exactly.
Oh, he's getting Helen's pat on the back this week, surely.
He can have it. I think I need the sack. Stuart Moraes was second in 3:57. And then James Kanama was third in 4:06.
There we go. And on the ladies' side.
Yeah, now this is the exciting news. Female pro. Right. So Anna Watkinson of South Africa won in 4:35, but in second place was Paris Edwards, which is awesome because Paris, I think she's sort of like London based, and she finished in 4:38, but essentially she's pretty much been out for, I think, since the World Championships at Austria, 70.3.
With injury?
With injury, yep. Yeah. So this was her first race back, and she won it last year. So, yeah, absolutely great to get on that podium and finish in second. And she finished off with a 1:31 run. She did a stonking bike, 2:26. She had the fastest bike, but she lost 5 minutes in the water, so she did a 35-minute swim compared to...
Nice. Good work, Paris Edwards.
And Claire Horner of South Africa was third in 4:48. Now, Rob, the exciting news is that I am going to be speaking with Paris Edwards this week for a future show.
Awesome. We're finally getting her on. As recommended by Lucy Gossage on Twitter, you should get Paris Edwards on. And we always do as we're told by the lovely Lucy Gossage, so we've got her on.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to catching up with her later this week.
That'd be good. Cool stuff. Right, and one more thing I want to talk about, a local race in the UK. It was the Man Triathlon up in the Lake District this Saturday just gone. I was really super excited when it was announced because for people who've not been to the lakes or international listeners, the Lake District is one of the most beautiful mountainous and lake-covered areas of the UK, and it's been crying out for an iron distance race for a long, long time. This one's based in Keswick, and what they quite interestingly and cleverly managed to do was put together a bike course and a run course that were pretty much flat.
Wow. In
a really mountainous area. So they didn't go over any of the crazy mountain passes.
That's because they're saving it for you next week, Rob.
We'll come on to that in a second, shall we? So how about this then? Winner, Richard Strawn, 9 hours 11.
That's awesome.
So that's pretty fast course that must be going. It was a 1:01 swim, and there weren't any fast swims. There wasn't anybody under the hour from what I can see. So it looks like it was long, cold, or slow, or all of the three. And again, it's one of those cool swims where you go out from the dock in Keswick and out around an island and back again. So really adventurous kind of thing. 5 hours flat on the bike and 3 hours flat on the run. So that's some going there. Headley Fletcher in second in 9:20. Matthew Alderson in third in 9:25. And on the female side, just have a quick refresh of the page here. Sarah Smith took it out from Teesdale Triathlon Club in 10:56. Sarah Timmis in second in 11:02 and Nicola King in third in 11:03. So real close racing there. Now there's a lot of love for the Lakesman Triathlon. I asked people if anyone had raced. Will Sisson says, yes, it was wonderful and very well organised. I'll be signing up again for next year. Well recommended. Sarah Marsden says, I did the run as part of a relay team. Tiny tweaks needed, but overall it was superb. So yeah, it sounds like it's a good one for the calendar for next year, Hells.
Yeah, it sounds really, really good, and the feedback's positive. So happy days.
Yeah, and then stunning. So I like the idea of having a fast, flat-ish bike course in a beautiful area, riding through, seeing that stunning scenery would be amazing. So get on it, people. Support that event for next year and let's get it grown.
Awesome. So Rob, fill us in then. How are things ahead of Triathlon X?
I've got my Bible and my rosaries. It's going to be good. I'm going out there with no intentions of racing. I'm going out there for a day out. I'm going to go and cruise around the swim. I'm going to go cruise around the bike, and I'm going to try and get through the marathon as best I possibly can. And finishing is going to be a big effort for me for this one. So I've got my fingers crossed, and I hope the weather isn't too hideous. I've just been reading through the pre-race notes today. You scan over it and you go, 5,000 meters of climbing.
Oh my god! I was going to ask actually for listeners that might be fairly new to the podcast, this is a race in the same area that we've just been talking about, but this one does not avoid the mountains.
Yeah, so Triathlon X uses the bike course of the Fred Whitten Sportif, which has got about 3,500 meters or 10,000 odd feet of climbing on it, and it goes over 5 or 6 big steep lakeland passes. There's a couple, Hard Knot and Rhinos, are at the end of the ride, Helen. They're in the last 10 miles, and both of them are 20% with sections going up to 30, so like 1 in 3, 33%. So I think I'll be getting off and walking up those, if I'm perfectly honest. And then the run goes along the Langdale Valley from Ambleside, and so you've got 8 miles up the valley, 8 miles up and down Scarfell Pike, which is the highest mountain in England, and then 9 miles hopefully back along the valley again. Again though, all of it through stunning scenery, and it's quite nice in a way because the run goes along a route where my mum and dad used to take us when we were lads, and we would play in the stream there and like catch minnows and stuff. So when I went and did a recce last year, I was like, I remember this bit of the river. So so I'm really looking forward to it. And the plan is to record live on the course. How's that for you? I'm gonna have the MP3 recorder with me, probably not in the swim.
No, it might get a little bit wet.
But I'm gonna try and record live from sections on the course as we go around. I've been having a little practice, and I think I can pull it off. So fingers crossed. We should be able to do a bit of that as we go around, and maybe even catch some interviews with people as we go along. So for next week's show, hopefully we should have a little bit of live action from the middle of an Ironman, which will be fairly unique, wouldn't it?
I'm not doing the same.
No. You're going to be going as hard as you can.
I will not be doing the same at Bolton. Rob, all I can say is best of luck, but mainly enjoy it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And if any listeners happen to be in the Lake District and want to do a Tour de France style push up the steep bits of the hill, I won't be turning you away.
Get involved then. Go and support Rob if you are anywhere near the Lake District this weekend. Also happening this weekend, Rob, is Challenge Galway.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's looking like being an exciting one.
Oh, it looks like a stunning part of... so I know Laura Siddle's coming over from the US to race that one. Joe Skipper's heading over there. Lucy Gossage is heading over there. So should actually be a pretty competitive race. And it's such a nice part of the world.
Yeah, it will be. Pete the Fish and Pete Price are racing that as well. Local boys, so could be an exciting day out. See if Pete the Fish takes it to Joe Skipper on the bike.
Well, we look forward to hearing all about that one, actually, I think.
Challenge laid down. And also, this weekend, Ironman Austria.
Oh, lovely. Klagenfurt.
One of the big three massive European races, isn't it? This one. This is renowned by people who have been out and raced several races as the best race in the world. It is the top of my, if I ever go and do a race abroad, this is it. This is the one. People I know who've raced Hawaii have said, well, that was nice, but it's nothing like Austria. So for people who are new to the sport, it's meant to be super duper duper.
It was just happy memories.
You loved it, didn't you, when you did it?
Yeah. 3 years ago, it was great. Just the lake, the place, the swim, the run course is fantastic, and all the support. Yeah, it's really cool. So anyone racing, enjoy. And anyone not racing, but if you think you fancy it, I'm not joking, get your fingertip on the enter button.
Yeah.
Like it will be on.
It is a 3-second job, isn't it?
Yep.
It's this Frankfurt and Roth these days, the ones that are going to sell out in a click of a fingers. Yeah. Pro race is going to be a good one as well. We've got on the men's side Marino van Hohenacker, who's won it about 7 times, I think, and set the world record there one year. We've got Michael Weiss, Bart Aeronauts, Daniel Fontana. So there's going to be, these boys are going to lay it down. And if it's a quick day, we could see them down in the sort of 7:40s.
Yeah.
So that could be super quick. And on the ladies' side, we've got the return of Miranda Caffrey.
Yes, we have, haven't we?
We have indeed.
So it'll be really interesting if because you imagine she'll want to make a bit of a statement, won't she? This year.
Yeah, you think so, but like outside of Kona, she's always, and I don't want to sound disrespectful when I say this, because I think in her position, her job is to go and win Kona.
Yep.
And if she does that, job done kind of thing.
Yep.
But it'd be good to see her have, to go fast on a course like this, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So watch this space.
Yes.
It looks like it's going to be raining, Rob.
Is that right?
Yeah. Let me just have a little look. Sunday. Thundery, showers, sunshine. I reckon. Well, you know what? I guarantee.
They've had a few years when it's been in the 40s, haven't they? So
yeah,
you probably take a bit of rain on the run. Actually, just mind those corners on the bikes, boys and girls, if you're out there racing.
I reckon it'll be one of those ones though that I think it'll probably be just sunny.
Yeah.
Yeah, confident.
Sunny and in the low 20s. That'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, should be cool. Rob, Coach's Couch this week, we had a question in from Shane Wilson, who says, what's the ideal warm-up for a race, and does it change depending on distance?
It's a great question, and just before we answer that, we're going to hand over for a quick pre-recorded word from our sponsors, Team Oxygen Addict. I created Team Oxygen Addict as a way to make access to expert coaching more affordable. We offer 95% of the benefit of one-to-one coaching for about half the price. Now, as a Team Oxygen Addict member, you'll get an event-specific training plan that's guaranteed to get you into top shape for your Ironman or 70.3 event. You'll get access to our private members website that contains video tutorials for swim drills and coaching podcasts, and we have regular live coaching webinars where I deliver live seminars to our athletes where I answer your questions live on air. Best of all, as a team member, you'll get access to me for coaching advice within our private Facebook group, where you can also chat with the other team members. And this is the real gold of the team, the supportive and positive atmosphere that's developed amongst our team members. On a daily basis, they're all in there talking about their training, and I'm in there offering support and advice where it's needed. Now, if you're concerned that a generic training plan isn't the best way to make the most of your valuable training time, Team Oxygen Addict is for you. You get to ask my advice on how to best use your time that week, and I'll guide you so your plan meets your goals and your available time. I wish something like Team Oxygen Addict had been available when I was at the start of my triathlon journey. I'd have saved a ton of time thinking about how I should have been training, and instead I could just have concentrated on getting the training done and then recovering. All this is available for a monthly cost of just £65. So if you're ready to take your triathlon performance to the next level, I encourage you to go over to team.oxygenaddict.com and sign up today. Again, that's team.oxygenaddict.com. And this is just another little addition here. Team Oxygen Addicts are having a free webinar that's being hosted on Tuesday, the 28th of June at 8 p.m. UK time. The webinar is going to be entitled Race Day Success. So we're going to be covering strategies on how you can achieve your best performance on race day at any triathlon distance. After the webinar is presented, we'll have a live Q&A on air where you get a chance to ask your questions of me, and I'll answer them right there during the webinar. So again, the web address is team.oxygenaddict.com/race day. Sign up and give us your email address and we'll send you an invite to the webinar. You have to sign up in order to come to it, and if you can't attend live at the time, we'll send you a link afterwards that you can download and listen to it. Alright, so Shane's question again was, what's the ideal warm-up for a race and does it change depending on distance? Hals, how do you warm up for your races, mate?
Put me on the spot. If I'm doing a good warm-up, Rob,
be honest. I mean, this is the aim of this. What do you do before a triathlon?
I'd say I probably don't do a whole load.
I think that's true of most people, isn't it?
Yeah.
I really think it is. And I think, I mean, I know Shane, and the advice is going to be slightly different for him. For most people in a triathlon, the warm-up is actually going to be the swim. That's going to be the reality, especially if you're doing an iron distance race. We're going to do some mobilization and some stretching at the side of the lake and get our arms moving and the blood flowing. You're going to get into the water and do a bit of a swim, but certainly in the longer distance races, you're not going to do much more than that, because we're going to try and ease our way into that race and use the swim as a way to kind of get the blood pumping around the body. Because let's be honest, most of us are not fit enough in the water to be able to go super hard in the water, are we?
No.
I think that's the reality. And even in long distance races, it's only the guys who are really going for Kona slots or the pros who are going to go really hard in the water. Now, Shane is one of those guys who is a really decent swimmer. And so for him, I think that the advice is going to be different. I think still, if you're going to be racing long distance stuff, you don't need to do too much because you're going to be in the water for an hour anyway. But for the shorter distance stuff, I'd say you want to be thinking about getting yourself on your turbo trainer and sort of warming up as if you were doing a time trial. So maybe, an hour before the race is due to start, get on your turbo trainer on your bike, give it a roll around and do some sort of 30-second to 1 minute spin ups.
Rob, I have a
get yourself
question.
Off.
Right.
You're going to say, how are you going to do this with your bike, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Well, you've got to bring a second bike.
Okay.
And that's the reality of the guys who want to race at the top end and really sort of get these GB qualifying slots. And you'll see this at races. You'll see people on the cheap hack bike or whatever in the car park, set up next to the car and riding the bike and doing a sort of 20-minute warm up to really get the blood pumping. And it isn't easy to do this, and at some races it's impossible. Then you've got to be off the bike straight away, get the stuff packed away, and maybe have a helper, supporter, parent, husband, wife, whatever, pack that stuff away for you while you quickly towel off, pull on your wetsuit over there, and you're down to the start ready to go. And that's really going to get you sort of in that warmth. Now, I don't think that advice is really necessary for the vast majority of people, and it isn't going to be able to be used at very many races. But if you've got that one race of the year when you're trying to qualify for your Great Britain slot to go to the World Championships, that might be the thing that makes the difference if you're a decent swimmer and you need to be ready to go straight off the line. Now, the other way you can try and do it is you can try and do a swim warm-up and do the warm-up actually in the water. But again, we both know, don't we, the challenge there is it's actually getting into the water before it's time for your wave to start.
Yeah, definitely.
So it's a very tricky one to do that. So a couple of ideas there that hopefully will help Shane out.
Awesome. Rob, what should we do next?
Well, I would want to give a shout out to Dave Clamp.
Oh, Decker Dave, who we've had on. If you want to listen back to Decker Dave, honestly, you will be inspired. And there's a word Decker in there. He does Decker Ironman.
He certainly does. We've had him on twice, haven't we? He was our second show guest. And he was also on episode, was it 46? I want to say it was episode 46.
It would have been before Christmas, wouldn't it? Because Was it like November kind of time?
Oh, there it is. Yeah, it is episode 46.
Oh, well
I'm
done.
correct.
Well
There we
done.
go. So we had him on. He went over and he won the World Deca Ironman Championships in Mexico
Yeah, that's right.
this year. The man is attempting to win the World Double Decker Championships. So 20 Ironmans in 20 days. The guy's 57 years old. He's the nicest guy you'll ever meet. He's a real gentleman and a real legend of the sport, and he's a member of our local triathlon club as well. Now, Dave is raising money for this attempt. Obviously, it's hellishly difficult to take 20 days off work to go to Switzerland. It's expensive. I think the last one he slept in a tent most nights, didn't he? And had to go and buy food from the supermarket and stuff after his day was done. So really, really challenging anyway. So Dave has got one of these Fund Me pages where he's trying to raise money to sort of help fund him go over there, take the time off work, pay for his food and accommodation and stuff. But that's not all. He's giving half of the money that he raises away to charity. So if you do donate some money to his GoFundMe, yes, you're helping him take the time off work and do this event and hopefully win the Double Decker World Championships, but also half of the money that's raised by that is going to get donated in the memory of a gentleman called Clive Redding, who unfortunately passed away earlier this year. Now, Hoob have offered to sponsor his little attempt here, Hells.
Fantastic.
And what they've said they'll do is if you donate £25, Hoob will, in fact, send you a voucher for the best part of 25. It's not exactly £25, it's like £24 and change. So basically, you donate £25 to Dave Clamp, they'll send you a voucher for £25 to buy a pair of Hoob goggles. So,
and that's for the first 50 donators, isn't it?
The first 50 people to donate £25 or more on Dave's page will get this voucher from Hoob. So well done, Dean at Hoob. That's extremely generous of you. So Cup of Tri, we're calling on you now. Let's see if we can dig into our pockets and help Dave Clamp, help him win the Deca World Championships, and also raise some money for the Clive Redding Foundation.
Yep, for the East Cheshire Hospice and Brain Tumour Research is the charities that he's raising for. So Rob, his website address is crowdfunding.justgiving.com/Dave-Clamp. So,
and what we'll do is we'll put a link to that in the show notes on the website page for the podcast. We'll also Facebook it, we'll tweet it. We're going to try and push this out there over social media this week. So if you've listened to this and then you see the link pop up on your Facebook feed or your Twitter feed, we'd be really grateful if you would help out Dave and the East Cheshire Hospice. That'd be really super cool.
Let me just say the address one more time. It's crowdfunding.justgiving.com/Dave-Clamp. CLAMP.
Cool stuff. Now listen, while we're talking about social media, I'd like to put an appeal out to everybody who listens to the show. Go and like our Cup of Tri Facebook page. If you like the Cup of Tri Facebook page, you're going to be entered into a competition courtesy of Erdinger Alcohol Fry. We have an interview coming up next week with Carl Alexander, who recently won the Half Outlaw. Carl is sponsored by Erdinger, and they very generously put up some goodies to sort of sponsor a competition for the show. So the winner of the show, which we're going to draw at random from the people who've liked our Facebook page, is going to win a whole bunch of Erdinger goodies, including a crate of Erdinger alcohol-free beer, I think there's a visor and a bag and various other bits and bobs as well. So we'll get all the details of that out in the show next week with Carl. We're going to run this competition for a month. So this episode and 3 more episodes, if you can like our Facebook page between now and then, that's all you've got to do. And we'll enter you into the prize draw to win the Erdinger goodies.
Awesome.
Sounds good, eh?
Yeah, I've got a can of Erdinger Alcohol Fry in the fridge. I'm yet to have it.
Really? Maybe you can go and tuck in after Ironman UK.
I think I might not have an alcohol fry after Ironman UK.
Not right after. It's
No,
not the
no,
minute you
right.
cross the line.
Oh, no. But there may be a cold beer of another type with actual alcohol in it.
Oh, I see. That's what you're rewarding yourself.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Nice. All right, I suppose we should move over onto our interview of the week then, shouldn't we?
Yes, I think we should. Who is it, Rob?
Rattled on for long enough. This week we've got an interview with the quite spectacularly talented age grouper Reece Barclay. Reece, during the interview was done a couple of weeks ago. It was after he raced Lanzarote and placed really high up in his age group there, but before he raced at Staffordshire 70.3, and the results of that came out. He won his age group at 70.3 Staffordshire, but he was the second age grouper overall as well. So really talented young man, partner of
Lucy Charles.
Lucy Charles. Yep, there you go. Mine went blank for a minute there. Really nice guy. Really loved the conversation with him. There's a lot of stuff to learn from this guy in the interview. So without further ado, we'll send you over to the interview with Reece. So I'm really happy to have Reece Barclay on the line with us here. Reece, welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast, man, and thank you for taking the time to join us. How are you doing today?
No worries. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Good. Oh no, it's a pleasure, mate. You've been up on my radar for a while as someone I've wanted to have on the show, and I've been asking people who should interview, and someone threw your name out the other day, and I thought, yeah, that'd be a good story actually.
Oh, cool.
So let's start at the now, and then what we'll do is we'll rewind it and go back to the beginning and tell people your kind of superhero genesis story, as it was, right?
Okay, cool.
So you've just come from Ironman Lanzarote, where you finished third in your age group in 9:37.
Yeah.
So, I mean, first up, man, congratulations on that. That's an incredibly fast time on that Lanzarote course.
Yeah, I'm absolutely made up with that, to be honest. I didn't think that I would go that far under 10 hours. I thought 10 hours might be a possibility, but 9:37 was way above and beyond what I'd anticipated on that course. So, yeah, chuffed.
Yeah. Where did that put you overall then, amongst the overall age groups and pros? Because you must have been well up there, right?
Yeah, I was ninth age grouper overall and 28th, including the pros. So
Brilliant. So ninth age grouper overall. Well done, man.
cheers. Yeah, I narrowly missed out on a Kona slot, which was absolutely gutting, but I've got to be pleased with the time.
It's kind of a bittersweet thing, isn't it, when you do a really, really amazing performance, and was there only 2 slots in your age group?
Yeah, and the chap who beat me, he caught me at 38k, and
Oh no!
I was just I was already at max, and he caught me, and I was like, but you know, I was always.
There's nothing you can do at that point, is there? When you're really hurting and someone catches you with 4k to go, it's just like survival mode for everyone.
Well, the thing is, it's in Lanzarote, it's an out and back sort of course, and I was aware that he was catching me from probably around the halfway point on the run, and I'd already started to dig deep with half a marathon to go, thinking that I need to hold this guy off or he's going to get me. But he's actually, I looked him up afterwards because he was running like a machine, and he's an ex-ITU professional and runs crazy fast. So he caught me up and was, and there was just nothing I could do to hold him off, to be honest. So fair play to him. He had a good race.
Oh, that's very decent of you, man. There's nothing worse, I'd imagine, than being run down for 13 miles at the end of it.
That is not what I wanted, especially on that course. But yeah, it was
especially because it's pure out and back, isn't it? So you can see somebody every 5k and get splits, and oh man, I feel for you. Oh dear. So listen, let's go through the whole race at Lanzarote then, because I know people are always interested in the times and the splits and stuff like this.
Yep.
How did you get out the swim? What was your swim split like?
So my swim split was 50 minutes. I managed to jump onto the chase pack. The front pack had the likes of Lucy and Jan in it, but once I'd sort of the age groupers start a little bit back on the beach to the pros. So once the horn went off, I kind of was in a little bit of a brawl, and then managed to work my way through some of the slower pros, and then was leading the chase pack, but I wasn't able to get on the feet of the front pro pack, which would have been nice, but just unfortunately wasn't that quick enough to get on their feet. So yeah, ended up.
So you were just out of it by the distance that the pros got a head start, were you?
Yeah, just there. But I was comfortable in that pack. I was happy I knew they were swimming around the 50-minute pace, and that was fine for me.
Yeah, cool. So out of the water with 50 minutes. I mean, first up, that's an incredibly good swim split.
Cheers.
Tell us a little bit about your swimming background.
So I'm actually completely the opposite to what Lucy was. I was a sprint freestyler, so I sort of specialised in 50 and 100 metres in the pool, whereas Lucy was swimming sort of 10Ks open water, so we couldn't be more other end of the spectrum. But I started swimming when I was about 14, so it's still quite late as well. I swam at the same squad as Lucy, and that's how we met, actually. So yeah, we had.
So how long have you guys known each other for then?
We've known each other for about 6 years, I'd say. And
wow, okay. So Lucy, of course, is Lucy Charles, who was on a previous show, and she's actually your fiancée, isn't she?
Yes.
These days.
Yeah.
So, bit of a power triathlon household there, mate.
Yeah, power struggle for the swim split, which I'm comfortably losing at the moment. But
it's always good for the male ego then if you're getting a kicking from your missus.
The good thing is, though, she's beating pretty much everyone at the moment, so it's okay.
Yeah, man, if you're going to get beaten by somebody, Lucy Charles is probably the person to not damage your ego too much, is she?
Yeah.
That's cool, man. So, right, 50 minutes out of the swim and you're out onto the bike. Were you pretty much one of the first age groupers out of the water then? You've been right out with the lead age groupers there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think I was the first age grouper, or maybe there might have been one in front of me, but I was definitely leading age grouper for a long time on the bike. I think the first couple of age groupers started to catch me with about 30k to go, and I made a bit of a mistake, really. There's a section in Lanzarote after the main climbs, which is quite fast, and I only had a 52 cassette on the front, which meant I was just completely spinning out. So I got caught by quite a few people on that section, which was...
Oh, it's downhill and you had a tailwind right on that section.
Yeah, so you're absolutely bombing along, and I'm struggling to press 200 watts with my cadence was like 110, so it was just like really annoying, but
yeah.
It was a good chance to refuel on that stretch, so I made the most of it, but a lesson learned there, definitely.
Yeah, sure. Okay. And then where were you roughly coming off the bike? What was your bike split? And did you have a sense of who was around you and kind of where you were in the pack?
Yeah, so it was interesting, actually. My bike split was a lot better than I had anticipated. My power was good, and I thought I'd be around sort of 540 on the bike, but I was actually quite a lot quicker at 525. Just as I was coming off the bike, the person who won my age group had caught me up, so I knew where I was in my age group, but I didn't know where I was overall. I think someone had told me I was in the top 20 at that point, but I wasn't really paying attention because I was concentrating on making sure I just got off the bike safely.
Sure, yeah. And you must have spent a lot of your race in and amongst the pro race then on the bike. Was it difficult, the fact that, if I'm right here, the pros are allowed to cut the corners on the descents, aren't they, and the age groupers aren't?
Yeah, so this was a real grey area. I was with the pros coming down Mirador, and it's anyone who knows the course, it's quite a really fast technical descent. And I'd been with Lucy in the pro race briefing, and they'd distinctly been told that they were allowed to cross the line and they would not get disqualified if they went over the line to take the corners safely. But then later on, when I went to the age group briefing, they were told distinctly that they would not be allowed to cross the line and they would be disqualified if they were caught.
Oh, no.
So I was like, right, there's one rule for them, one rule for us, which is fine because, they're pros, we're age groupers. But when I was with them coming down that descent, all of a sudden they were zipping around these corners, taking the best lines around them, and I'm caught sort of holding my brakes thinking, oh no, I'm going to get a disqualification if I do that. So the group that I was riding with sort of left me for dead on that, and then it didn't help that the motorway section was after that as well, so it was a bit of a slow bit for me, but it's just the way it is, I guess. Everyone was the same.
Yeah. Breaks your heart to get dropped on the downhills, though, doesn't it? When you want to be, ripping around the corners in a closed road race, and
yeah, definitely,
it's been a bit difficult, hey?
Yeah, it's definitely was frustrating because we'd spent quite a lot of time before the race getting used to that section, because we knew it was going to be an area where we needed to know the corners. So I was quite confident on them at that point. And then having to take them really, really cautiously was just a little annoying, but worse things have happened.
Yeah, surely you stayed upright. That's the most important
exactly,
thing, I suppose,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then so we're onto the run out in Lanzarote. It's baking hot and windy.
Yep.
And you've got yourself in the right battle, haven't you?
Yeah, so the guy who had overtaken me just before I came into transition, I didn't see him again, so he must have had a speedy transition and ran off. But there was another chap in my age group who came into transition just behind me and sort of virtually left transition the same time as me. So with that in mind, I knew that the first 10k of the run was directly into a headwind, and the last thing I wanted was him sitting on my shoulders. So I decided to put a little bit of a dig in just to drop him, and that worked. But when I got to the 10k point and started to go back on myself, I noticed there was about 4 or 5 people in my age group chasing me down. But I was sort of saying to myself, like, I can't believe I've probably only, at that point, I'd seen about 10 age groupers and 6 of them were in my age group. So I was like, what is going on? How is this age group is absolutely stacked.
That's heartbreaking, isn't it? Because usually it's spread out across about 5 different age divisions.
Yeah, there just seemed to be such a strong field. I mean, the guys who won my age group, they definitely outsplit loads of the pros on the run. So they were certainly going some.
Are you still under 25?
No, I'm 24 years old, but I'm going to be 25 this year, so I've gone up into the 25, 29 category this time.
Right, so you just aged up.
Yeah, just aged up, which makes it a lot tougher.
Yeah, of course. Right, so I mean, that's hats off to you, man. 9:37 at Lanzarote is a fantastic performance. It's well up there, and you're in the top 30 overall.
Yep.
It's bordering knocking on pro level performance already, which is amazing. Now, let's wind it back a couple of years. The thing that people are gonna find super interesting, I think, isn't just that you weren't a long distance swimmer when you were a kid, you were actually a sprinter, but you actually only took up triathlon in 2014, and your first triathlon ever was Ironman UK in 2014.
Yeah, so we started doing triathlon or triathlon training probably around January time 2014. We had a mad moment after a race where we just sat down and said, there's we need to do something different. Swimming training had sort of taken a bit of a back seat. I was in my final year of my degree and I wasn't able to commit to it fully, and Lucy was coming out of a transition period where she'd not qualified for the London 2012 Olympics and lost her motivation slightly. I don't think she'll mind me saying that, but so we needed an alternative, and a good friend of mine had actually done Ironman Lanzarote earlier on in 2013, where we'd been out there and watched, and that kind of planted the seed for us to say, well, yeah, maybe we should give that a go. So yeah, we just naively entered really and took it from there.
And first race at UK in 2014, what was your finishing time there?
So Ironman UK 2014, I finished in 11 hours 45 minutes.
And then same race, Ironman UK 2015. What was your finishing time in that one?
Yeah, so 2015, I finished in 10 hours, 20 minutes.
Wow, so an hour and 30 faster over that year.
Yeah, that was probably my biggest improvement. Probably just because I hadn't really done a lot of training specifically for cycling and running before 2014, and I just had the time to develop for another year after that. So yeah, I made some real big leaps, especially on the bike.
And 10:20 on the UK course, again, it's worth pointing out for anyone who's listening who's not seen it, that's a super solid performance. It's a very, very difficult course. It's probably nearly as difficult and slow, I'd say, as Lanzarote.
Yeah.
So 10:20 on that course, it's just brutal and never-ending hilly rubbish road surfaces, isn't it, the Bolton course?
Yeah, it's a pretty tough course. It's definitely up there with, I'd say, I'm not sure about which one's tougher yet. I haven't made my mind up, but they're both pretty tough.
Yeah, they're on that same slot, aren't they?
Yeah.
The things you wouldn't want to have to do on your birthday, I guess.
Yeah.
So here's the interesting part for me, man. 18 months from first deciding you're going to try triathlon to qualifying for Kona. And obviously you're a personal trainer by trade. You're doing some triathlon coaching now as well. People are always interested in the stories of people who get quickly.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the training that you did in those 18 months and how it changed over the 18 months. But how did you go from never having done sort of biking and running before to get yourself into shape, firstly to do your Ironman after 6 months and then to qualify another 12 months later?
So the first 6 months before my first race, I was really sort of completely dropped swimming 100%. I didn't do hardly any swimming, but I'd had a massive not so long ago background in me there where I was swimming in excess of 50k a week. So I had an engine and I had the swim stamina. I knew that wouldn't go anywhere. So I spent a lot of time on the bike. I didn't really know what I was doing on the bike, but because I hadn't ridden before, it didn't really matter what I did on the bike at that point. Just being on the saddle was enough for me to make progress.
And you just basically the first year, you're just getting yourself to the point you can contemplate and imagine finishing
exactly
180k, aren't you?
I mean, well, to be honest with you, I wasn't even confident clipping in and out my pedals by the time we got to Ironman UK. I was still sort of falling all over the place and having to look at my gears to make sure that I'd changed them. I didn't know my bike inside out or anything. It was just...
Reece, that never changes, man. I'm still looking at my gears and I'm for 25 years. Perhaps I'm just not very good at
it. Running wise, I'd done a little bit of running before, so I used to do a little bit of running, literally running with my dog. Like I'd take him for a run probably 3 times a week, but nothing over 5k. This as far as, well, me and my dog would go. But the training for that was really helped from joining a tri club there. They had loads of people there who had done Ironmans before, and just asked everyone everything and tried to get as much information as possible, and it was all right on the day. That was 2014.
Did it surprise you, being from sort of sprinting background and a power background, do you feel like you've discovered a latent diesel engine hanging out underneath all of this power that you perhaps would never have known was there?
Yeah, definitely. I sometimes think about that now and think maybe I spent too much time as a swimmer concentrating on the shorter distances, where maybe I might have been more tuned towards the longer distances. But I can't change the past, so it is what it is.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Still had to swim, high volumes as a middle distance swimmer. Still training sort of 15 hours a week in the pool, so I still had quite a big endurance base in me. But my training was sort of very different to what Lucy's was.
Yeah, I think that's a key, isn't it? Even if you're a sprinter as a swimmer, you're still doing 15 hours a week of training and building that diesel engine for, 6 to 8 years or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's really going to help with fuel supply and things like that when you get onto the biking and the running. So
yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's an interesting and good point, actually. So after your first triathlon and after you finished that, you've obviously been bitten by the bug completely at that point.
I was not well. I was I didn't know what Kona was, but when I found out, I was like, right, that's it. I want to qualify for that. And from there, I sort of used my knowledge that I had from being a swimmer, and also I studied sports science. So I sort of thought, right, I'm going to devise a year-long program to target Ironman UK again the following year, and make it my aim to qualify for Kona at that race. So I set about doing that and pretty much followed it as best as I could, and managed to take a big chunk of my time. But there's no secrets really. It was just hard work and proper planning and hard work really. That's all that went into it.
It is simple, but it's not easy. That's the phrase, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah.
So what are some of the sort of weekly volumes you were hitting in your year between 14 and 15 when you had your great race at UK?
So at first I wasn't able to tolerate high volumes of particularly running. My body just wouldn't allow it.
Yeah, sure.
So it was probably in the region of 30 to 50k a week of running on a good week, and about 10 hours of cycling a week. And at that point I was still just swimming whenever. I wasn't really focused on my swimming at all. Last year I was still just concentrating. I knew the gains would be made on the bike and the run, but as the year developed I managed to build up a better tolerance to running, so I was able to push that up towards sort of 60 to 70k of running a week, and push the cycling up to sort of 10 to 15 hours in the summertime when you could get out on the bike a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then probably only really just started throwing swimming back into the mix recently, to be honest. So it'll be interesting to see where that takes me.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you've got some more gains to make there, because if you're only, currently a couple of minutes off the pro swim times at Lanzarote, and maybe, who knows, man, if you'd have had the same start and you'd made the pack, maybe you'd have made that pack as well.
Yeah.
It certainly sounds like you've got that very knocking on the borderline pro swim. Your biking's improving all the time. Your running's still improving all the time. So I'm really excited to see where this will take you, man. I think you got real talent for it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. I'm excited too, to be honest. I'm enjoying the journey, so it's great.
And it's great to hear someone who took a sensible approach to it. Obviously, your background in sports science and coaching allowed you to say, right, here's a sensible plan, and I'm going to stick to it when I can and change the bits. But it's interesting to me, there's no talk of running hard and fast. I just went out and taught my body that I was going to run a little bit more week after week after week, and it doesn't have to be hard or fast running. It's almost like you took that year and were really sensible to attune your body to the demands of just being upright, running against gravity, and getting a pounding against the pavement all the time. And that in itself makes your body strong. So in year 2 and year 3, you're going to be able to take a bit more of a bit more intensity, might really push your running through the next level.
Yeah.
Now you've got through that kind of injury proofness.
Definitely hit the nail on the head there, really. I mean, the first year was just about, let's say, hours on the saddle and being upright on the feet running, just learning it. But this year has been slightly different, especially after Kona. I've been a little bit more focused and been trying to add in a few track sessions and on the running side of things, and I've massively improved, particularly my marathon PB. So it's nice to see that there's always things that can be done to just take you to that next level.
Awesome. All right, I can't let you go without asking about Kona. You qualified for Kona at UK in 15, like you said you were going to do.
Yeah.
Just tell us about the Kona experience, because everyone loves hearing about the Kona experience.
Kona is just absolutely mental.
Can we have that as a quote?
Yeah.
They should have that on a t-shirt, mate.
If you qualify for Kona, I'd say pack light, because when you walk down Alley Drive, people are just literally just chucking hundreds of pounds worth of equipment at you and asking you, do you want to use this on race day? Take this. And you can just, end up filling up your suitcase. We ended up buying a suitcase out there because we had so much stuff to take home. So yeah, it's absolutely crazy. It's a different world out there.
Brilliant. Free stuff everywhere, hey?
Yeah, it's worth it just for that, to be honest.
I've had a couple of athletes that I coach race out there and bring me back the Rudy Project iPhone cover and stuff like this. You go, oh, that's really cool.
Yeah, it's all unique stuff. I mean, Lucy's got this Garmin baby blue strap, which when we was at the London Marathon Expo, there's loads of people coming up to us saying, where did you get that strap from? Where can I buy it? And then in the end, Garmin actually ended up coming up to Lucy and saying, excuse me, where did you get that strap from? Because everyone keeps coming over to our stand and asking where she can get it from. So
brilliant. You can't have one.
No.
You got to go to Kona.
Yeah.
Good stuff. So obviously swim start, you've had a pretty handy swim out in Kona. How was it for you at the World Championships, presumably being surrounded by other really decent swimmers as well? How did that play out for you? Yeah,
so I always knew that it was going to be, it wasn't going to be me leading from the front as it normally is back home. I was going to be, sort of shadowed the whole way, but I was in the front pack. I came out, I think, second or third overall amateur in Kona. So I was out.
Hey, congratulations, man. That's brilliant.
Yeah, I was pleased with that. I didn't really know where the front two had gone, they'd come from the side and shot off. So it was only towards the end I suddenly found the feet of two people that I didn't know were in front of me.
Oh, so you thought you were leading, did you, at that point?
Yeah, I thought I was leading the whole way until I got to the final turnaround buoy, and they'd either swam wrong or just blown up, because I sort of ended up back on with them, and then it was just us three for the whole way, really. And then onto the bike. The Kona bike is, I can't really describe it really. It's just boring. It's just out and back.
Riding through a lava field.
Yeah, there's not much to it. It's just literally out and back, and the only bit of excitement is getting to see the pros come in the opposite direction when you're going out. That's probably the highlight of it, really. Other than that, you're just making sure that you're on top of your nutrition and hydration, because it's really hot.
And as from the perspective of, you know, being one of the first three guys onto the bike from the male race, was it just people going completely bananas on the bike and blowing by you all the time?
So there's a sort of a steady trickle of people cycling past me the whole day, to be honest. And that kind of, in a weird way, it motivated me, because I remember watching them cycling and thinking, wow, I want to be that good one day. I can't believe that they're just cycling past me, like I'm not even moving, even though I was, you know, holding a fairly good pace. But it just gave me more motivation. But yeah, so a lot of people certainly did probably overbike, because I didn't really get overtaken on the run at all, but overtook loads of people. So
Yeah, cool. Well, it won't be that way this year, man, when you qualify, that's for sure. Now your biking's improved even more.
Yeah, I hope so.
Now you're riding with the pros, hey?
Yeah, that would be hopefully a different story.
And so you ended up 5th overall in Kona in the under 25 category, with a time of 9:50, so 30 minutes faster than you'd gone at Ironman UK a few months earlier.
Yeah, I was really, really pleased with that, yeah.
Yeah, that's a fantastic performance, man. So I've got to ask you, where do you see your future going in triathlon? What would be the perfect situation? Because you're only really young still. You're only just turning 25. Do you think you've got another year of racing age group, or another 2 years of racing age group? And do you think about turning pro?
Yeah, I definitely have contemplated the thought of turning pro. I'm realistic with where I'm at the moment. I know I'm still steadily progressing, but I'm not pro level at the moment. But if my sort of improvement trajectory continues as it has been, then it's probably safe to say that within 2 or 3 years, or maybe even less than that, I will be up there with the pro level. So it's a slightly different story to Lucy, but yeah, I'm still working away at it, and I will cross that bridge when the time's right, I think.
Yeah, good for you, man. That's very sensible. And I think it's realistic as well, man. You finish in 8th or 9th age group overall at a race like Lanzarote. You've only got those 8 people to get by, and all of a sudden there are no more age groupers. And when you're right up there winning the overall age group race, it's the next obvious step, isn't it, for a guy like you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny because, you know, me and Lucy have had this discussion with her career, and she's sort of winning amateur races outright at the world champs and didn't really have anywhere more she could go at amateur level, so it was the right move for her. But with me, I was still, you know, I was only 5th in my, well, I say only, I was only 5th in my age group, and there was still a vast amount of people who had beat me out in Kona. So for me to suddenly say, yeah, I'm going to go pro as well, wasn't the right move. But given my results at the weekend, I'm definitely moving in the right direction.
Yeah. And I remember Lucy saying she was looking to race. She's doing Staffordshire and UK. Are you going to do similar races as well and pick your races that way?
Yes, I'm definitely going to be doing Ironman UK, and I'm fortunate enough to have got a spot for Staffordshire as well. But they're both, Staffordshire is just going to be kind of a training race for us, because we've only just tapered and we couldn't taper again. So yeah, both of those races I'll be doing. I probably won't be doing the same races as her towards the end of the season, because she's going to be focusing on Kona points. So yeah, I won't be doing the likes of Weymouth, for example. Won't be doing that race.
Gotcha. Yeah, so hopefully you'll have your ticket to Kona after UK. And would you go to Kona again this year if you get your ticket, or are you going to pass for a year? And
yeah, I definitely would go again. If I have the race that I know I can have in Ironman UK, then hopefully I should get my slot there, and I would definitely like to go back and better my result from last year.
Yeah, good stuff. And something that's interesting that's happening in age group racing at the moment is that the top elite age groupers are starting to get picked up with sponsorship deals. Who is it that's helping you out at the moment, and who are a few of the people you'd like to give a shout out to? Because I really believe in sort of giving people the opportunity to support the people that are supporting them.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm really fortunate to be sponsored by Boardman Bikes. Recently have helped us. They've supplied us with a bike, and we've had it fitted as well. It's like massively changed my riding, because I think the bike I was on before just wasn't set up properly for me. So that's made a big difference. Hoob have been backing us for a while, and they've sort of realised our potential from a while back. So they've been supportive. Recently, started with Skechers Performance. They're supplying our run trainers at the moment, so they've been really helpful. And then a big mention to the sponsors that most people probably wouldn't hear of because they're not triathlon branded, but the likes of Active Training World and Moonlight Design. They've been really helpful. Without their support, to be honest, we probably wouldn't be able to afford to race as much as we'd like, and as much as our sponsor would like us to. So it's really important to us.
Yeah, that's really good, man. That's really nice to say thank you to the people like that, because I think it's easy to just think about the triathlon companies, but all the other companies that go along and support you and put money towards travel expenses. I think lots of elite age groupers and first year pros just couldn't get the careers off the ground without that kind of help, could they?
No, definitely not. I mean, as I say, it's, to go to Kona alone for both of us, that's both of us where we wasn't able to work. And both of us travel expenses, entry fees and accommodation. It was a massive expense, especially for, I'm not long out of university and still got quite a lot of debt, and Lucy's only 22 and not been working for very long either, so we didn't really have the financial backing to initially go there and do that race. So without their support, Lucy might not have been a world champion, and I might not have had the result that I had out there.
Brilliant. Well, you guys have both got great blogs over. Your website is pulsefitnesstriathlon.com, and you do a great job, I've got to say. You're both very professional with your race reports, and they're dead interesting to read. So I'd encourage everyone to go over there and read those stories while they're sitting on the turbo.
Yeah.
Give them something to look at. And I like you've got your sponsors listed at the bottom with links there to make it easy for people to click through and just check out the people who support you.
Brilliant. Yeah. Check them out. There's a few races. I think they go back all the way to my first Ironman race, actually. So I think I say on there about my ambitions of qualifying for Kona, and then my blogs sort of go through the journey of qualifying and then racing and so forth. So there's lots to go through if you want to find out the more sort of intricate details of my training sessions. They're all listed on there.
It's always good to read, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, definitely.
Good stuff. All right, Reece, listen, man, thank you very much for coming on the show. It's been great to talk to you. I'm sure people will have loved listening to your story about going from never done a triathlon to qualifying for Kona in 18 months. Like I said, if people want to find out more about you and your company, it's pulsefitnesstriathlon.com. Will you come back on the show in the future and talk to us when you're age group world champion, hopefully?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
All right, great stuff, man. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Right, and that's all we've got for this week, Hells. It's time to wrap it up.
Oh, well, Rob, it's been a pleasure, and really good luck.
Thank you very much. I'm going to need it.
Go for it.
And to you too, I hope your Achilles tendon keeps on improving.
Thank you, and we will catch up again next week. In the meantime, you can get in touch with us. We're at Cup of Tri on Twitter. Any questions for Coach's Couch? Rob, they can get in touch with you on email as well, can't they?
They sure can. Coach Rob Wilby at oxygenaddict.com, or send it through Twitter or Facebook. Those all work as well. Final plug for Dave Clamp. If you want to send a donation for him, that would be fantastic. The link's in the show notes, and we'll put it out over social media as well. And a big thank you to our sponsors, oxygenaddict.com triathlon coaching, triathlonbox.co.uk, and wearebikehouse.co.uk. And a final shout out, thank you very much to our patrons who sponsor the show and make a donation to help keep the show running every week. We really appreciate it. Hells, that's all we've got time for.
That is. Rob, it's been a pleasure.
That's it. Let's wrap it up. I'm going to go and read the race briefing and panic that I don't know how to use a map. Thanks for listening to the Cup of Triathlon podcast, everyone. I'm Coach Rob Wilby.
I'm Helen Murray.
And we will talk to you all again next week when hopefully I'll have completed another Ironman and Helen will have completed a few pain-free runs. Have a great training and racing weekend, everyone, and we'll speak to you all soon. Bye now.